All right, here we are trying to get the tray off. We just got scared. I thought the fuel tank straps went up and they were bolted to the tray, but I just watched a brilliant video on YouTube by a bloke named Alex and learnt lots of different things. So we now know how to take this thing apart. So bring it back down and we're gonna take the lining out of the center of it and start there. For the record, the hard lube weighs about as much as the tray. Get a piece of rubber out. There's going to be a series of screws and all those bolts going around the outside. We'll secure this, plus we've got the added fun of this piece here and the hinging mechanism-y part for the hard lid. That'll have to come off to get the tray liner out. Once the liner's out, we can get access to the bolts and get the tray out. Yeah, you get the idea anyway. Alright, so there's the indents in here actually clip in. So can you pop that one out and pull it up? There you go. And then we come loose. Alright, drag her out. I'm definitely going to have to box that up before I lose it. So this is what it looks like without the liner in there. It's a basic frame. So there's a whole bunch of bolts like this that hold it down. And that one, and anyway, you get the idea. There's a whole bunch of those. A couple going that way down there, I think. Not sure, don't hold me to that. Might just be that one. We'll know real soon. So that's going to be all of those. Carl's just working on the wiring at the moment. We'll get all the wiring disconnected. The loom kind of runs through the tub by the look of it, I think. So we'll just pull all that wiring out, and then we can lift the tub off.
That should move.
That should be all our bolts? I don't know. Lift up the side, see what happens. Oh wow. Alright, so a couple of things have happened since this very last part of this video, but it's been a day or so. Tray's off. Oh, gonna go over the wheel, we'll show you that in a second. Oh, rum can, that's important, it's a necessity. Tray is off. Comes off very easily, as you'd probably imagine. It was designed to come off. So that is off and out of the way, hard lid's over there, that's all gonna be going. I really wanted to clean this up, but that's not going to be happening either because I don't have anywhere to pressure clean here. So eventually I'll have to get that pressure cleaned. I'll work that out at some point. But let's dive into wheels because that is the exciting part. Check these out. Oh yeah! There's a 265 50-15 white writing to the outside because that is cool. Now you can start getting the ideas of the tonneau tray build I'm going to embark on. Very, very rad. From that to this. That is where it's at, party people. Dig the white writing. That was by accident. They rang me up and go, hey, these tires have white writing. Would you like that to the inside or the outside? Which I immediately said outside, because that's where white writing goes. And they look fat. Yes, the fronts are still coming. But that's okay. I had to order them. Like I say, I already had the rears. Pan on out for that mad shot. Oh man, it's coming together. That tonneau tray is going to look mad on this thing. We work on the paint too. Woo. It's bad. It's really, really bad. There's no saving that. She won't buff. But it will spray, so we'll just paint the car. We could do it with a fresh lick and it'll look mint. I'm a very visual person, so I've drawn this up in what I had in my head basically. Put it on some paper. I just want to, this is what we're going to be using, it's 100 by 50. And I just want to do like a mock-up, maybe just on this side, just to give myself a little bit of a better mental picture of how it's going to work and how the steel looks together. The body line on the car, a lot of these trays sit too low for my liking on the BA Falcons. Like the earlier stuff, like your HQs and whatnot, you can get away with a really low tray, it's quite a low profile on the vehicle. But I think on the BA it needs to be a little bit higher and beefier, so I'm just playing around with this at the minute, just trying to work out sort of where I think it's all going to end up. Just cut some angles on this to have a play. I think we're pretty good there. So anyway, I'm going to keep digging with this for a minute, and And now I'll show you whatever I tack together. A crossbar here really wouldn't play the game. I needed to support the end whilst I hold it and try and, you know, I'm working out geometries and stuff here. It's technical stuff. So, I'm gonna zip tie it in place. And that way, it won't go anywhere. Look at that. Zip ties. More zip ties. If first you don't succeed, use more zip ties. Oh, there were 2 holes here that just were lined up perfectly for zip ties. Oh yeah. Alright. We're getting somewhere here. Yep. Got my center line. Drew it on the center of the tyre, so you know, if it moves we could be in trouble. It's alright. There. Tweaky tweak. I think for the sake of mock-up I'm going to go with about there. Come back and squish. About there. I might just put some welds on this for tonight. A couple of tacks on the inside here. That way I can stand up and just, you know, have a drink, take it in. See what I think? Might change my mind. Could hate it. But this is going to tell me those answers. So, here we go. Yeah, baby. Oh, yeah. Yep. One down here for stability. You're going to have to use a little bit of imagination here, but that's roughly what I'm going for. See how that, I don't know, it's hard to put it, just the line of it, you know. When it's lowered, I still want that sort of clearance. We've got to lower it 2 inches still. Maybe a little bit less, I don't know. Play with that as I go. I'll actually make up the tray I'm going to put on there and block up timbers and go up and down, see what I think entirely of it. It's roughed in, all right? That is more like a bow than it is, you know, a couple of preset angles, so ignore that. But that's the overall look I'm going for. Come back this way. There's a welder in the way. And you can get the tunnel look of it all. So, I'm pretty happy with that. I've got my drawing here. It's not very technical, don't laugh at me. That's my drawing. Oh, pen's running away. So that's the drawings. I just roughly measured that out. And that's what I came up with. I think it works well enough. I think it needs a little bit of tweaking. We need probably, the transition angle's probably not enough. I think that could be a little bit better. Maybe we just need wider wheels. So I'll play with that a little bit because I want it to be fairly defined where the wheel arch part is, and then it tapers back into the body, and then same on the back. I'm going to play with that a little bit. But yeah, that's roughly what we're going for here. Metalmorphic Laser are the people I entrusted with cutting all of this out. We could normally do it ourselves with the saw, but I wanted a really neat, fine cut angle. So we went down to those guys. They threw it in the 3-axis laser and cut us all the pieces. And we threw it together like a jigsaw, and the welder all up. Came up really, really nicely. Gave me a beautiful surface to finish off with and allow us to have a nice prep area for paint. Right, so the tray is coming along very, very nicely. It's got the floor in. It's a 1.6 mil pressed checker. Just a very light checker. I'm going to Raptor coat it so you actually won't even really notice it so much. Be a subtle detail. Headboard's in. I like the gap in there. Just, I don't know. Never done it like that before. I'm always trying to do something different. I felt that that was the look I would try this time. Use these many times on trays. They are the bomb. Plug weld them this time. So we're going to seam seal this and Raptor coat the whole thing. So I didn't rather bolt them all in. I got to clean all this up yet. 1.6 mil tray. It's going to be super solid. There's plenty of cross beams in this thing, so that's going to be fine too. And I've gone for a Sikaflex for the crossbars, and I glued the floor to that part. It'll take the drumminess out of it. The part I'm working on right now that is causing me the most amount of time, heartache really, because prep's not my favorite thing to do. I didn't realize, and because I've never done a tray of this sort of box before, there's a seam in this stuff. And if I had have known more earlier, I would have faced the seam to the inside. Thankfully the rear has got the seam on the inside. so the rear's not going to be as much work. I need to do a large amount of prep to remove this nasty seam, because when I put base and clear over this, it will come out and you'll see is a darn seam. So if you look at this side where I've been working on it for the last 2 hours, we are seam free pretty much. I got a little bit more to do. There's a few little marks in it which I might get with high build, but that is the whole side. So there's got to be nearly 1 millimeter taken out of that. And just going through and like really dressing up where the welds and the bends are, so that when the paint goes on, it comes up really nicely, and I'm quite happy with that. I don't mind seeing a little bit of the weld, like that's how we joined it, so you're going to know it. Except for here, all the welds have been removed. This corner came up quite nicely too. So that's where that's at. So I'm just sitting here going to town. I'll show you some of the bits we're using to make this come up the way it is. I got my grinder and a DA. It's 80 grit on the DA. First stage is the wheel. It's on the grinder actually. Grab that little fellow. Yeah, there it is. These are designed for stripping paint. They also clean minor scratches up. So start with that. That takes the paint surface off so it doesn't bind up the wheel. This is our 120 grit. And this little fella here is actually for cleaning up stainless steel. But funnily enough, does a really nice final finish. And once it's gone through those stages, hit it with the 80 grit on the DA and then down to 120. Just your little DA wheels. And that's my finish ready for paint. I'll edge prime all this when I'm done here. And then we'll come back and do a high build. And then we've got a combination of 600 and 800. So yeah, painting's fun. My least favorite thing to do is paint. Actually, no, painting's fun. I do love painting. Prep. I hate prep. Anyway, because we're doing a metallic, we need to do a pretty darn good prep on it. So that's going to be this. I'm just going to keep going on this. I'm not going to bore you guys with all the, this is not a how-to. This is just, Luke's an idiot and put the seam to the outside without realizing. So clean all this up. I'm just going to put some etch on it for tonight. We'll come back and look at the tray very soon. Okay, so this has really come up quite nicely. I just put it in some etch primer for now. I'll come back and I'll high build prime that, and we're going to go with a few different sanding grays. I burned through there. I put some tacks on the back side just to take the drum out of it. It's a lot more solid now, considerably better. So now moving on to getting this bad boy prepped, because we're going to Raptor line the base of this, not the sides. The sides will be metallic. They're going to be nice. The base is going to be Raptor, which is why I went for this just tin. I know timber would look a lot nicer. I've had timber trays before and they're a lot of maintenance. And I want to use this as a ute, hence all the tie down points. We've got 10 tie down points in this sucker. And with this big edge here, things can be locked in and it can be strapped down nicely. It won't go anywhere. So I'm happy with that. So I'm just going along with the DA with some 80 grit on it. And you can see the pattern I'm getting here. When you feel it, it's quite coarse versus this is quite smooth. So yeah, that's the plan. I'm going to go over the whole thing DA. It's a matter of putting it this way so I come up against these, then coming back this way to get these ones. So it's going just fine. 80 grit's going to rip through it pretty well. I want a pretty heavily etched surface for the Raptor to stick to. You can buy promoters and stuff like that for Raptor, but just a well etched surface, Raptor's some pretty hardcore stuff. She'll hang on. Where is that? Come over here real quick. This guy here is Sikaflex 227. It is fast curing automotive sealant. Come into focus, big guy. So no sagging, and you can paint it. And you can sand it. I didn't actually know that, but apparently you can sand it. Which will be handy on the front side here, because I've got to do all around this. So I guess we'll be able to sand it finally before we paint it. So right now I'm just going to go through, I'll get all this prepped up, looking like that. And then we're going to go around, seal it all up, ready for Raptor. Yeah, let's get after it. We are buzzed and prepped. So you can see the hatching in it. I could have gone a little bit further in here, but I hit it with the wire wheel first and then did this. So I think it's pretty good. I don't think we're going to have too many adhesion issues. That's 80 grit. It's pretty solid buzzing. So next thing is to seam seal all of these. I've just gone along and cleaned it all with a bit of brake clean. and acetone, which, I don't know, that should probably do it, right? That's 2 heavy chemicals. I also, this is going to be the hard part, I need to seam seal all of the headboard, because we're painting that body colour. I'm only painting Raptor up to sort of, I don't know, 10 mil above the deck, I suppose. So I'll seam seal all the way around. I'm going to put some holes in it so that water can drain. Otherwise we've just made ourselves a bathtub. So I don't know, let's throw somewhere around here. We'll put 4 holes in it, 1, 2, and then same at the front. And that's our holes. I went with 2 in each corner because I can't get into the corner. These will drain through the pin inside them. They could do with a hole in the bottom, but we're not going to. They'll drain through there, and I don't plan on leaving this thing out in the rain anyway, so that is not a problem. I need a little bit more prep there. Anyway, it's time for Sikaflex. And this is the end result. I tried filming in between, but my hands were covered in this stuff. So that is it. You could just put it on like we would do in a bathroom or something if you like. The difference is I really wanted to work it in there. This is 1.6 and it's rolled on the edge. So it gives me a hard edge, nothing, you know, keeps the form of the material, but it leaves a big gaping hole in there where the rolled every corner, crevice. There's a big bit to fill. That's where I'm going with that. So what I do is I just worked it all in there. I worked it back under all the lifting points. So even though they're welded in 4 spots and they've got big welds down the back of them, I still wanted to get it all down and around in there. I don't want any water ingress in any of this. We're building this to last, and we're also building it to use it. So once the Raptor coat goes down, it will be super sealed. Headboard, that was fun. I would like a better job on there. Probably should have taped it, did it, peeled tape off. Don't even have an excuse why I didn't. Just, they say it's sandable, so I'm hoping, especially for this side, I'll use this as a test run. You won't see this, it'll be up against the car, but I'll try sanding it. They reckon it's a sand through type one. So I haven't actually used this one before. This is slightly different to the one I would normally use, but the fact it said you could sand it really sort of took my fancy. So anyway, that's the tray. Sides are all prepped. The next part's going to be the Raptor coat. We'll grab out that in a second. I have a kit that I bought off of Facebook Marketplace because that's my favorite place to shop. Problem with it is, the problem is that when you buy a kit, a Raptor kit, they're awesome, but they do come with 4 bottles, and it's very rare that you actually need all 4 bottles. So you can usually find someone selling a remainder of a kit, which is what I did. I just jumped on Marketplace and found a bloke who was selling one bottle, you know, out of the whole kit. So comes with the bottle, comes enough harder to make the whole thing work. I think 1 bottle will easily do this. This is not a lot of surface area. We're only doing the flat part, so 1 bottle is going to cover that really well. We're just going to use the entire bottle. We'll just go until there's no bottle left. I did the tray of my HQ ute, and I think that was 2 bottles. And that was a pretty good coating. You probably could have gone for the 3rd, but it just really didn't need it. So I think 1 bottle is going to coat really well. So with that being said, I'm going to leave this to cure for a couple of days. It'll get a little bit of shrink back probably, and sort of sit down. Then we'll come back and we'll do a final prep and lay down some Raptor. Well, with a bit of curing time, this sucker is ready for some Raptor coat. Final prep washed it, taped it all up again. Make sure we're all hunky-dory and ready to rock and roll with this bad boy. Not a bad tape job. This here is my Raptor kit. Got this on good old Marketplace. Just managed to get 1 leftover bottle out of a whole kit, so that's pretty rock and roll stuff. And I went and bought a new gun. This bad boy here I am pretty stoked with. It has a little air adjuster, so I can sort of go up and down with my air pressures and control my flow a bit better, so pretty cool. And that is us. Raptor is down and the tape comes off. And let's face it, pulling the tape is like the best part of painting just about anything at any stage in time. Well folks, that is the tray Raptor coated. There's a few things that I haven't told you that we're going to go over right now. First of all, that is 2 bottles. 1 bottle will not cover this surface area. I really thought it would. Totally wrong. Just, yep, notched that one up. 2 bottles, so that did that bit. The gun that I bought, that we looked at earlier, not that long ago, was no good, basically. The nozzle on it was too big. So even though you can control the airflow on it, the nozzle was just way too big. So I ended up having to go out and buy another Raptor gun. They're not expensive. And did it with that. And that actually gave it a bit of texture as well. It's hard to catch it. There you go. About there. It's just got a really nice texture to it. I'm quite happy with it. So we'll let that go off. This is going to be the end of this video. And coming up in the next video, well, don't know what it's going to be. Got to work on the trailer for the boat. That needs to be done. This obviously needs painting, the same color as the car. The car needs painting. So I don't know how we're going to tackle that. I don't think I can paint a car. I just don't think I got it in me. Don't think I'm good enough. And it's pretty much a whole respray. I don't have a booth or anything like that, so that'll be interesting. I will paint the tray. I'll get all the sides and everything done, same color as the car. I've already bought the paint. So I know I can do that. That's, 100 mil of square box. That's not going to be very difficult. Painting a car, that is a different kettle of fish. Not that you'd put fish in a kettle. But anyway, it's a lot more work. Body work has to look really, really nice and all that sort of stuff. So I think I'll paint the roof. And see how I go. If I'm really happy with the great, amazing job that I miraculously do on the roof, I might tackle the bonnet. We'll see. But if not, I'll take it off somewhere. They can paint it. Let professionals do their job. Anyway, I'm rambling again. I will catch you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for checking us out. I don't know where we're going to be next, what we're doing next, but hey, that's the adventure, right?